events to this way. What does that even mean, bro? Like, oh, yeah. There we go. I have a little microphone. Hello. Hello. It's nice to see you. Goofy. Yeah, I think I updated that. Do I need to do anything here? No, it's already updated. I wonder if you can see that here. Oh, well, whatever. What if I post this on Threads? Is that loud? Is that reverbing? I don't know. Nobody. I'm catching it up on the MSRO line. Is that how you spell it? Hold on. Let's see. Is that what it is? That's so funny. You type it in, it immediately comes up to the U.S. Department of State. They're like, fucking Google, you better put this on the front page or else. Yeah, founder Hussein al-Houthi. That's classic, right? Other mainstream media. Yeah, I'm gonna get a better microphone soon. So hopefully that happens. But yeah. This is Squirtle sex. Soda. How's that? Oh, dude, my face is all huge. I don't know how much I like that. It just looks ugly. Hold on, I need to edit some stuff. Bring it over here. Why can't it just like look decent? I'm trying to. Let's see. Do I do that? Yeah, I can just do that. Man, why doesn't it look right now? That's life. Mainstream media coverage. Oh, I did post it. Okay. Oh man, why to stop? No! Hold on, what were the other videos? Guess we'll find out in a minute. Oh boy. Alright, so yeah. Funny story. They're immediately on the front page 2 days ago. And then the revocation is also on there, so that's kind of funny. And then this is on there. Wow. I wonder how that works. Like, I really don't know. But that's pretty funny that they've already updated their status to a not good organization. Alright, so I do want to look at that news, actually. I'll look at that towards the less funny parts. Is there anything good over here? Oh, okay. Tension. Yeah, let's check this out, I guess. I think I have this lined up properly.
Pakistan and Iran trading precision strikes.
Can't hear anything, man. That is way too low.
Another US attack.
That is also too low. Let's go 210%.
On the Houthis in Yemen. Yet more devastation in Gaza. The Middle East appears to be on the edge. Should we be concerned about a wider war?
We're seeing this dynamic sort of replicate all across the region in a very, very dangerous way, and in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time.
Right.
Iran says its recent military activity is a response to a series of attacks on their territory. Most notably this one, a deadly bombing on January the 3rd, which killed nearly 100 people. Tehran's retribution has seen its elite revolutionary guards strike what they say are terrorist sites in Iraq, Syria, and on Tuesday, Pakistan, where they hit an area in Balochistan, killing 2 children.
Wow.
Today, Pakistan responded, claiming that they'd targeted separatist militants inside Iran. Tehran condemned the attack, saying 9 people had been killed, including 4 children. Despite a sense of new tension, both nations have emphasized communication and dialogue.
Iran is a brotherly country, and the people of Pakistan have great respect and affection for the people of Iran. We have always emphasized dialogue and cooperation.
But how is this connected to wider tensions in the region and the war in Gaza? Iran's strikes on Pakistan and Syria appear to be a direct retaliation to attacks on their soil. But the attack on the Iraqi city of Erbil, they claim, was targeted at an Israeli...
So that was an insane strike. I think that went like 700 miles is what they said. This strike wasn't very far, but I guess neither is that one. Yeah, pretty crazy to go from here all the way over there. I think they're just trying to show their reach for this region, if you catch my
Israeli
drift.
spy base. And as we know, Iranian proxies, the Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon, have been responding to events in Gaza, as Israel fights Hamas, who are also backed by Iran.
What we have seen take place over the last several months is the kind of the crux, the final conclusion, the proof of the pudding of why Iran has been building this network of regional proxies for the last 20 plus years, is to be able to exploit the very kind of scenario that we saw triggered by October the 7th, which is to take advantage of the vulnerabilities, take advantage of various vacuums across the region, and in Iran's eyes, to show that the US and its partners are paper tigers.
I mean,
Footage
it's true.
today from the Israeli Defense Force.
That's a lot of what I've been saying and what I've heard said as well. The United States, U.S. Navy. What's happening there? Like, we're doing sorties, but like, is it doing anything? And I think what we've seen today from what Biden says about the strikes is that it's just really just kind of for show. So there's not a lot. They're just kind of shrugging it off. Like, yeah, you're doing damage, but well, what are you really doing?
It shows them attacking the area around the biggest hospital in southern Gaza. Israel state...
These dorks just waste the most amount of ammo for video so they can provide it to the media, and then they don't do anything.
Its mission is to
Then they get blown up by a dude popping up out of the ground by a fucking mole man over here, like just coming out of nowhere.
destroy Hamas. But it's also been exchanging fire in the north with Hezbollah in Lebanon. With
That's
fiery rhetoric abound, there is also concern that Israel
that's where the back and forth is going, which they have no answer for Cornets, so that's not going well for them. There's a lot more other arsenal that they don't have an answer for, so that is why they haven't escalated in that direction.
could escalate, leading to a direct confrontation with Iran.
There is an empire of evil emanating from Tehran, spending billions of dollars in arms and money and people's well-being to derail the entire stability of the world and the region.
Well, you gotta say, people's well-being when you're kind of responsible for 24,000 people.
And that is exactly what we are seeing, and they have to be faced by a very strong coalition.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken was also in Davos this week.
Now, when he says coalition, so far, it's just them and the PMCs that they've hired, the Spanish PMC and supposedly the Ukrainian PMCs, which is just a few guys. But that you're not really doing much of anything. I wouldn't call that a coalition. Sure, the Navy is, sitting in the shallow waters of the Mediterranean and then going down and staying busy in the Red Sea, but it's not much of a coalition, sir.
He spent the past few months trying to simmer down tensions in the Middle East. As he tried to leave yesterday, his plane was grounded due to a mechanical failure, stuck on the tarmac as tensions were boiling. Some critics say the US should be pushing for a ceasefire in Gaza to
Not a
calm
good place
the
to be
storm.
stuck, sir.
But is it too late?
Has that wider regional escalation developed a life of its own, whereby, yes, of course, a ceasefire in Gaza is diplomatically vital, frankly, to de-escalate in the state-to-state dynamic, but have these proxies, and particularly the Houthis, found their own dynamic here? They are now showing that, frankly, even with American airstrikes, they are not deterred. And I think that's the bigger concern.
Further worries on top of yet more and more death in Gaza. Nearly 25,000 Palestinians have now been killed since the war began. A people caught in the middle of a geopolitical jigsaw, bearing immeasurable suffering.
Kieran Woodley there. Well, just before we came on air, I spoke to Dr. H.A. Hellier, a Senior Associate Fellow in International Security Studies at the Royal United Services Institute for Defence and Security Studies, who's in Jordan. I asked him how concerned he is by this exchange of missile strikes between Pakistan and Iran.
Seeing any degree of escalation, I think, is concerning because it empowers actors within the region to think that they might be able to escalate in other ways as well. And Iran in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's just Iran trying to drag Pakistan into it.
I do think that there's less risk of this spilling over too much, simply because of the nature of the strikes between the Pakistanis and the Iranians. But we frankly don't need any more room for the possibility of escalation. The law of unintended consequences when it comes to armed conflicts is very concerning indeed.
This is the first external land attack on
He's got it on
Iran
the big screen.
since Saddam Hussein and Iraq back in the 1980s. So it's not normal, is it, this sort of thing?
Well, none of this is normal, Kieran, right? So, I mean, I think that we have to be very, very cautious about, normalizing this sort of violence, because then that means that the next time that things do escalate, we won't take it as seriously as we ought to.
Do you draw any line at all between what's happening between Pakistan and Iran and the conflict in Gaza? Is it giving cover even to Iran in some way?
I don't want to jump to conclusions in that regard. There is a temptation, as I said, to see this as evidence that Iran is flexing because it feels like it can. But personally, I'd be cautious about that. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'd just be cautious about being certain about that at this point.
And finally, what are the risks of further escalation? Is this just a tit for tat, or could it grow?
When it comes to the Iranians and the Pakistanis, I'm hopeful that we're not going to see much more emanate from this particular, as you put it, tit for tat. But
I mean, that's
again,
been going on this
none
entire
of these things
time.
happen in a vacuum. Okay.
Like this tit for tat thing's been going on for months now, especially between Hezbollah and the IDF, and in particular between IDF and Hamas in Gaza. I wouldn't say that's tit for tat, but definitely the northern part, where it's Hezbollah and the IDF. And not only that, the Houthi have not only fired on ships, they have fired ballistic missiles towards Israel, and they've gone into, basically broken into space to drop ballistic missiles on them. So there's a lot of tit for tat going on in a lot of directions.
Okay, so
And it is more than just in these last few weeks.
what we've seen unfold in Gaza, what we've seen unfold with the Houthis in Yemen, what we're seeing the beginnings of when it comes. I hope I'm wrong, but the beginnings of escalation between the Israelis and Hezbollah. I don't think 4 months ago people would have dreamt that we would be in this particular position. People were talking about normalization between the Saudis and the Israelis, and all this sort of jazz. The world's changed quite a bit in a very short period of time. So none of these things are happening in a vacuum. So at the moment, I don't think that there's a great likelihood of, for instance, all-out war between Iran and Pakistan. But that's not saying much. We can't set the bar that low.
No, I don't
because
think there
when
will
we
be all-out
do,
war.
it means that, as I said, law of unintended consequences.
Pakistan's another United States-backed country in the area. I would say Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and a few other ones. So obviously Israel. I think that's why you've seen this buildup of Iranian-backed militias and groups in the area. However, Pakistan is definitely a nuclear power, which we don't know if Iran is, but we assume they are, and there's another nuclear power in the area. So how this escalates, who knows?
The crisis can spill out elsewhere, and then suddenly we find ourselves in a very dangerous confrontation that is very regionalized and pulls in other external actors, be it the West or otherwise, into the region in very dangerous ways indeed.
Dr. Hellier, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Kira.
All right, not bad. Kind of informative. Let's see what else is going on here. Oh wait, was this another video? Oh, okay, that was the same video. All right, so let's see what we got from Hindustan.
عملية استهداف لسفينة كيم رينجر الأمريكية.
Okay, this is as of 1 hour ago, I believe. Okay, hold on. I gotta read everything. Naval forces of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a targeting operation against the American ship Chem Ranger in the Gulf of Aden using suitable naval missiles, and the hit was immediate. Thanks to God, of course. The Yemeni armed forces confirmed that a response to the American and British attacks is inevitably coming. So, I mean, it sounds like they're really kind of not worried about it too much. That's my take here. Yeah, okay, so it's coming, and the attack will not. So they're just going back and forth. Yeah, it's a back and forth thing. Same thing that you're seeing with like Hezbollah and the IDF. Third attack in 3 days. I mean, these ships are literal tanks. Now, not like a Merkava that gets blown up instantly. They're literal tanks. They're tanky. Like you're not gonna sink a ship by doing some splash damage like this. And not only that, I think they're purposely just doing splash damage. I believe if they wanted to sink a ship, they would sink a ship. They have a pretty huge arsenal that they can fire off at any point in time. And if you really want to overwhelm a defense system, you know what to do. You fire a barrage of missiles in one direction, and whoever's defending that will pray that they can hit everything, because the odds are they are not going to. And odds are that a ship like this would definitely get sunk. Not only a ship like this, but any ship like this that is this size, or relatively any ship that would be trained to defend these ships. Okay, that's weird. But they fired 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles, and apparently it was an immediate hit, is what he said. I hate how low this stuff is. Alright, it's just Central Command said latest attack was the 3rd in 3 days. So they've done 3 attacks. The U.S. has done 5 attacks now. Oh man, where's what's going on with shipping when I need him? Gibraltar Eagle had been targeted. Yeah, they got targeted. Did it get hit? They don't say. Claimed it was a direct hit. The missiles fell in the water, no damage. I mean, that kind of looks like some damage. That's a repeat. So yeah, I see this. The Hindustan Times seems to repeat themselves. I don't know what they're trying to do with their timestamps. All right, so let's go on to the real news. Sound like a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, let's go on to the capitalist-backed NBC News. See what they got to say.
The U.S. military attacked target.
Holy Lord! Like, what is? Why can't I hear anybody?
In Yemen again. More strikes in retaliation for attacks by militants known as the Houthis on commercial and military ships.
Y'all heard of these guys?
The Houthis say they are attacking the ships to support Gaza by blocking supplies from reaching Israel. The Biden administration on Wednesday formally redesignated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. They'd been added to the list under President Trump, taken off, and are now back on. The designation taken.
I saw the perfect meme. It was a double secret detention or whatever it is.
In effect in a month. But it's not just the Houthis and the Red Sea. War is spreading across the Middle East, with the U.S. at the center of it. The United States is now in an increasingly open and expanding.
Dog, you gotta say why. Like, you have to say why this is happening. Like, oh, is the Hindustan Times like doing the graphics for y'all now? Like, what's going on here? So this is going on because of what's going on over here, specifically in this region right there, and also this one right there. Like, these are major issues that you should be talking about.
In conflict with what is known as the Axis of Resistance, a network of militant groups in 6 countries and territories. All are backed by Iran, but they operate with a degree of autonomy. The war escalated when Hamas attacked Israel in October, and Israel responded with devastating force, backed by the United States politically and with weapons.
Oh, run that by me again, sir. Hold on.
Backed by Iran, but they operate with a degree of autonomy. The war escalated when Hamas attacked Israel in October, and Israel responded with devastating force, backed by the United States politically and with...
You know, every now and then they slip something in here like this where they're like, hey, the United States is responsible for these actions. But you didn't hear it from us. Like, that's exactly what they're saying right here. Yeah, you got to pay attention for it.
weapons. Collectively, the Iranian-led axis is formidable. Hezbollah in Lebanon is arguably the most powerful non-state military in the world, with tens of thousands of rockets and battle-tested fighters. Hamas has effective militants too, and the notoriety of the Palestinian cause. Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq are close to oil fields and American military bases, which they've been attacking and been attacked from consistently since October. And in Yemen, the Houthis, they call themselves Ansar Allah, have the advantage of locating...
They call themselves Ansar Allah. That didn't make it to the captions, did it?
...right on the Red Sea. I spoke to one of the group's top leaders.
The Biden administration...
Oh, look. He's doing the same thing as Hassan.
...has designated your group, the Houthis, as a terrorist organization. What is your reaction to that?
We would
It's okay when he does it, but it's not okay when a Twitch streamer does it.
say to Biden, this label should be given to Netanyahu, he says.
Is there now a regional war underway between the United States and Iranian-backed groups, including Europe?
Yes, as we said, America announced the war against us, he says.
Iran is projecting
He's
its
got a
power
point.
in other ways as well. Iran carried out a strike in Baluchistan, which is a region in Pakistan, a region where many militant groups operate, including anti-Iranian groups. Pakistan responded with a strike against Iran. You know things are bad in the region when even the Taliban are calling for calm.
Thanks for watching.
You know, it's funny that he talks about that area because if you go and look at Afghanistan's original borders, I can't spell, but here we go. The Duran line. Are we looking at the right thing? I don't know that we're looking at the right thing, but this all used to be Afghanistan, I believe. It's not what we're looking at today. Yeah, that's the Duran line. I believe there's a river that used to be the initial one. Is this right? Where am I going? What am I looking at here? Huh. Yeah, Northern Alliance. The Taliban had that. This is not the map that I'm looking for. Anyway, something like half of Pakistan used to belong to Afghanistan. I believe that's the way that works. If there's a map that supports that, I'm not looking at it right now. I'd probably have to do some more research because I'm dumb. I'm dumb American, and I don't know what I'm doing. But, you know, here I am on the Twitch. Alright, so yeah, so he platformed a terrorist just like Hassan Abi. That's what we're doing. Let's see what Biden's got to say about that.
U.S. Central Command confirmed
Jeez.
another round of retaliatory
Jeez.
strikes Thursday against Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. This comes as the Middle East has been rocked by a series of missile and drone strikes over the last few days. Earlier this week, Iran hit multiple targets in Iraq, Syria, and Pakistan in a 24-hour period. These attacks are not necessarily related, but there is a common link between them, Iran and its proxies. David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. David, President Biden acknowledged Thursday that the strikes carried out by the U.S. and its allies in Yemen have yet to stop the Houthis from attacking these shipping vessels in the Red Sea. So what's next? Does this just keep going tit for tat, or are they going to...
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Do something more.
Well, the stated strategy here is to degrade and destroy the capability of the Houthis to launch drones and missiles against ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. But the bottom line is that the U.S. has to come up with a way of stopping these attacks, because as long as the Houthis keep firing at passing ships, even if they don't hit them, the companies that own those ships and the companies that own the cargo aboard those ships are going to tell them to take the long way around Africa, stay away from the Red Sea, stay away from the Suez Canal, with all the implications that has for delays and snafus in the global supply chain. Now, that doesn't mean that the U.S. has to find and destroy every last Houthi missile and drone.
My brother in Christ, you dropped like 100 bombs, if that. Most of them on the same targets. Like, you're not going to wipe out the Houthi by doing that.
But it does mean they have to inflict enough pain on the Houthis to make them...
So that's what we're doing here. We're trying to accomplish the pain.
At least rethink their strategy. The problem is that the Houthis are battle-hardened, and they have proven themselves to be tough and savvy fighters. So as long as this war between Israel and Hamas continues, the Houthis are likely to continue trying to get off shots at passing ships.
And U.S. officials say the military's taken out enough of the Houthis' air defense capability that they can now use drones over Yemen. Is that a game changer, or what does that mean?
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, it certainly is an advantage they didn't have at the beginning of this air campaign, which began with those strikes last week.
My brother, they downed a couple drones today. What are you talking about? It's not looking good.
When you're relying on spy satellites to locate your targets, a satellite makes an orbit over the country of Yemen, and then depending on its orbit, it's some time before the next pass, and things can change on the ground. But if you're able to operate drones over the country, then that drone can just circle and circle overhead and watch for these missiles and drones as they come out.
Okay, hold on, dude. While you're talking about that, I'm sorry. Hold on. What's the name of this? Drone downed. Yeah, this is 10 hours ago. MQ-9 Reaper drone was shot down near Baghdad. Oh, they were using that one for assassinations. Okay. So, been shot down. Yeah, this is this operation's not going well. Down by the Houthi terrorist group. Yeah, we're doing really good. We're doing really good out here.
Hiding in
If only there was a way to check on this stuff, like in almost near real time.
Loaded aboard
fucking dumbass
launchers, and then they have time to get off a shot and destroy the launcher before the Houthis can fire at another ship. have called this a running gun battle between the U.S. and the Houthis, and that's kind of a figure of speech.
No,
but
my mouse died
really
again.
It's coming down to who can shoot first. And when you have the drones, you have an advantage in shooting first.
David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you, David.
Well, what do you got now, dumbass? Because you ain't got no drones up there. Thanks for nothing. Anyway, let's transition to the rest of the news, I guess. Doing Democracy Now!
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Pakistan's Air Force has launched retaliatory airstrikes on Iran as tension continues to escalate across the region. 9 people were reportedly killed in Iran, including 3 women and 4 children. Pakistan said these strikes
Brother, okay, they're not that good at all. They don't know.
targeted separatist militants based near the Iran-Pakistan border. The attack came a day after Iran bombed members of the Sunni militant group Jaish al-Adl in the Pakistani province of Balochistan. On Wednesday, Iran's foreign minister, Hossein Amir Abdullahian, acknowledged Iran had carried out recent bombings in both Pakistan and Iraq.
پاسخ ما روی تروریست‌های ایرانی در داخل خاک.
Our focus is on the Iranian terrorists on Pakistani soil. Before this conversation, I discussed with my colleague, the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, that we
They're not good at all. People don't know them. They are bad like all Iranian militias. I never said they were good. 2013. I'm well aware of that. With that said, it's not appreciated.
respect the integrity of Pakistan. We respect the integrity of Iraq, but we will not allow them to play with the security of our country.
The U.S. military has attacked Yemen for the 4th time in a week, launching ship and submarine missile strikes on Houthi-controlled areas Wednesday. The attack came a day after the Biden administration redesignated the Houthis, who rule much of Yemen, as a global terrorist group. The Houthis have been disrupting global shipping routes by carrying out attacks in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden in an attempt to pressure Israel to halt its bombardment of Gaza. Meanwhile, U.S. forces are continuing to search for 2 U.S. Navy SEALs who were lost at sea off the coast of Somalia last week after a group of Navy SEALs stopped a ship allegedly containing Iranian-made missile parts. In Gaza, at least 16 Palestinians, including many children, have been killed in an Israeli airstrike on a home in Rafah, which has been designated by Israel as a so-called safe zone. The families killed had reportedly come to Rafah for safety after being displaced 3 times over the past 100 days. One relative told Al Jazeera, quote, they fled their homes in Gaza City to the Bureij refugee camp to Khan Yunis before coming to Rafah because they thought it was safer. The grandmother of the children killed in the Israeli attack spoke outside the bombed-out house.
I was in the school when the strike happened at dawn, and I came running. I found the rubble. I went to the hospital and found all my grandchildren have been martyred. All of them are young children. The biggest one is in 2nd grade, and the rest are even younger. What have they done wrong?
Meanwhile, in Gaza City, rescuers raced to a home where Palestinian children were buried under rubble after an Israeli attack.
In this house, there's children. We're trying to get them out since the morning. With every attempt, airstrikes and rockets fall on us. Our neighbors from the Al-Madbouli family came to help us. The first 2 who went in were martyred. What sin did those children commit to die like that? The number of those who were inside the house is more than 25 people. They were all martyred. The whole house collapsed on them completely, as you can see. More than 1 missile hit this area. This area was shelled by many missiles at the same time.
In other news from Gaza, Israel's blown up Israa University south of Gaza City. According to a post...
I mean, honestly, what the fuck was left of it? Because that already looks kind of blown up to me, but to completely demolish the structure, you're... I hate to say this, but you're probably doing them a favor because it's completely... The instability of it is unknown. You would have to bring in like engineers and whatnot because this has been bombed all to hell. It's ridiculous.
On the school's Facebook page, Israeli troops had seized the campus months ago, turned it into a military base where Israel interrogated detained Palestinians. There are reports Israel has killed another journalist in Gaza. Palestinian news outlets report Wael Fanouna, the manager of Al-Quds Today TV, was killed today in an Israeli bombing in Gaza City. Over 110 journalists have been killed since Israel began its assault on Gaza following the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. On Wednesday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called again for a ceasefire in Gaza.
I repeat my call for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza and a process that leads to sustained peace for Israelis and Palestinians based on a 2-state solution. That is the only way to stem the suffering and prevent a spillover that could send the entire region up in flames.
In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces have killed at least 10 Palestinians in a series of military raids. Israel launched airstrikes on the Tulkarm refugee camp and the Balata refugee camp as ground troops conducted extensive raids. The Palestinian Red Crescent accused Israeli troops of blocking ambulances from reaching the Tulkarm refugee camp, which has been under siege for over 30 hours.
Oh my God, dude.
In Britain,
30 hours. Hold on, run that back again.
In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces have killed at least 10 Palestinians in a series of military raids. Israel launched airstrikes on the Tulkarm refugee camp and the Balata refugee camp as ground troops conducted extensive raids. The Palestinian Red Crescent accused Israeli troops of blocking ambulances from reaching the Tulkarm refugee camp, which has been under siege for over 30 hours. In Britain, the House of Commons has approved legislation to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda, even if they have no ties to the African country. The bill declares Rwanda is a safe country for asylum seekers, despite a recent UK Supreme Court ruling saying the opposite. The bill is expected to face opposition in the House of Lords, where one member has described the legislation as a, quote, step towards totalitarianism. In Washington, D.C., President Biden met with congressional leaders at the White House Wednesday in a bid to break through deadlocked negotiations on Biden's request for $100 billion in supplemental military funding for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he was optimistic about a possible deal following the meeting, while House Speaker Mike Johnson doubled down on House Republican demands to further crack down on immigration, saying the proposed Senate deal is, quote, dead in the House. In related news, Texas has defied a Biden administration cease and desist order, refusing to dismantle its border barrier near the city of Eagle Pass on the Rio Grande. Texas troopers took over the 2.5-mile stretch last week, installing fencing, gates, and razor wire. On Friday, a mother and her 2 children, aged 8 and 10, drowned in the Rio Grande after Border Patrol agents were denied access to the area by Texas officials acting under orders from Republican Governor Greg Abbott.
I fucking hate this place so much. I hate what Greg Abbott has done to Texas. It's been one fucked up law after another fucked up law. I don't understand how anybody can morally vote for Greg Abbott. We have a lot of issues in Texas with voter suppression. I've said that previously. There's a lot of problems that we have with the Republican Party being in charge in Texas. One of the ones that his opponent, the opponent of Greg Abbott, ran on was the grid. The grid is always, it's pretty dumb, and it's kind of ridiculous that when the temperature changes, as in it goes to an extreme of either cold or hot, it's either extremely hot or it's extremely cold, there's a possibility of a grid failure, and it's always in the news. You always see it, and you're told that, oh, you should turn down your heat or turn down your cooling, whichever one it is. And it's all because of this dumbass right here, this guy that's made our lives reprehensibly worse. Nobody should live like the way that we're living right now. The failure of 2021, when the grid did fail, due to 0 degree, negative 2 degree temperatures, for an extended period of time, that's all on this party. And I at the same time that I don't understand how this guy got reelected, this last year, in 2022, I do understand, because there's so much voter suppression. We see progress try to be made by certain people and certain Democratic people, and others in Texas, to change the way things are. But as long as these assholes are in charge, we're fucked. They recently did redistricting, and that just got gerrymandered everything else to hell. You see major cities, major blue districts get cracked and packed the way that it's intended to be done. It's terrible. It's terrible what we're doing to our own people in Texas. It's terrible what we're doing to these people that try to come into Texas.
In Ecuador, a prosecutor who was investigating a recent attack on a TV station has been assassinated. Cesar Suarez was killed in the city of Guayaquil on Wednesday. This comes less than 2 weeks after Ecuador's president, Daniel Noboa, declared a state of emergency due to a surge in violence by drug cartels. In recent days, the slain prosecutor, Cesar Suarez, had interviewed 13 gunmen who stormed a live TV set earlier this month and took the staff hostage on air. The U.S. State Department has barred former Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei from entering the United States.
Oh yeah, bro. I used to play Destiny all the time. Hey, I saw you playing Apex. You still on? Hold on. Oh, you got off. Yeah, dude. I remember you. I have you on my follow list. I don't follow a lot of people on Twitch. So yeah. I saw your stuff, dude. Did you get a camera recently? I think I saw you pop up. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, the camera helps for sure. Yeah, when I was playing Destiny, it was fun, but like I think, yeah, I met you how long? It was like 3 years ago for sure. Like during the pandemic, I think. But yeah, dude, Destiny's it's dying, dude. It is so dying. Like I can't believe how badly that game has gone downhill. Have not heard a lot about Apex recently. How's that going? Is there new DLC on it? Yeah, I love Destiny too. Are you talking about Apex? I think there's a new game that people are playing. What's it called? It's called like the Trials or something. Yeah, like new game. Yeah, it's like Warzone. Oh, new game. Oh, the finals. Yeah, the finals. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't checked this out yet, but it looks kind of cool. I saw there was some Destiny players playing.
Get the latest update with new content
and a new solo game mode. Welcome to the finals update 1.5.
Oh, they got solo game mode?
Architect's latest creation, the experimental game mode Solo Banquet,
where you play against 11 other players in a race to earn the most cash.
Yeah.
Get ready for the ultimate challenge.
It's just like a rumble match. Do they have silly stuff already? Yeah, look at that. You got an alien, a panda, and a big old fox. That's pretty funny. Yeah, nah, dude. I was playing Warzone. Did you play? Were you playing Warzone too? I like playing Warzone, but I don't know how much I like the new season because they switched to that new engine for like COD 3 or COD whatever it is now. It seems kind of weird, but Warzone seems the same, but it's not exactly the exact same. Yeah, it got boring quick for sure. I felt the same way. Oh, let me bring up the chat on here so I can see. You can see when I'm replying to you. Yeah. Well, test. Can you see that? Oh. Yeah, but like Warzone got kind of boring for some reason. I like the Spawn, the season with Spawn. I think that was pretty fun. And they had the whole like Halloween event. That shit was huge, dude. If you didn't check that out, you missed out, bro, because it was good. But yeah, did Apex or anybody else like have anything good, like some Halloween events or something? That's pretty cool. Man, they have like a whole like Diablo crossover. I did play the shit out of that season for Warzone though. It was pretty fun. You never played? I never played Apex. Nah. Like I think I downloaded Apex and then I just never played it. That was it. Like even the Destiny what the people are weird, dude. What the hell is going on here? What is this post? So what the hell's going on? Earth City 2024. The aliens have landed. Unincorporated commercial in St. Louis. What? Oh, it got deleted. Why'd you delete it, bro? What happened? Yeah, he deleted the post. I gotta try Apex, or I gotta try the finals. I think I want to try the finals. Yeah, I think I'm gonna check out the finals, honestly. Because I tried Apex and just something about it just felt funky. PvP, Battle Royale, each character got their own abilities. Yeah, that's what I found weird, was like I wasn't familiar with like what characters did what, and I didn't think I wanted to invest the time, and that's why I kind of defaulted back to Warzone, because I was like, oh well, Warzone, like I already figured out like what guns and what attachments and all that shit, and like so that's kind of why I fell into that as a game over anything else. Destiny was still good. I mean, I still got my clan. I still got some dudes that play, but it's just dead, bro. That's why I don't know, kind of. Even with the new DLC that's gonna come out, I don't think anybody's gonna be playing. Oh, okay. You're still on what, PS4? Oh yeah, dude. Definitely the either get the Slim, or you want a pack, a PC. Oh, PC, yeah. Oh, dude. And so I only have a mini PC. It's like about this big. And that's what I'm running off of for the stream. Seems to work okay for the stream. If I try to play games on it, it sucks. I think I spent like maybe like $300 or $400 on it, probably like 2 years ago. But it works okay. I would imagine like if you want like a PC that you can play video games on, like good resolution and shit, you're probably gonna spend like 3 times that at least. I don't know, man. I haven't looked into it. I was really only looking into a PC just to be able to do this. And even then, I didn't know I could stream. I didn't think the quality would be this good. Yeah. That's cool, man. Alright, I'm going to watch the news a little
over his
more.
involvement in, quote, significant corruption. The decision was announced just days after Giammattei left office. Early on Monday, Guatemala's new president, Bernardo Arevalo.
Oh, yeah, where are you from, dude? Are you from, you're in the U.S., right? Oh, Seattle? Yeah, cool. I was in Seattle like 2 years ago. That was a pretty cool city, man. I went to go visit my buddy. He's like, lives somewhere, I don't even know where he lives. But yeah, we drove all around the place. We went to go, went to a bunch of different bars and breweries and shit. It was pretty fun. Like I had been to the northwest before. I went to Beaverton, which is like just outside of Portland. That was pretty cool too. I like being over there, man. The trees, dude. I wish there was like more huge trees. Oh, you got family in Oregon? Cool. Yeah, man. What the? Looking at my feet over here. But yeah, dude, I love like the Pacific Northwest. I think it's really cool. I used to watch that show Twin Peaks, which is kind of goofy, but it was really really cool vibes as far as like the scenery goes, and yeah, going to Portland like years ago. It was like, dude, it was like 15 years ago now. God damn. Oh, you know where it was filmed at? Yeah, man. I like that area for sure. I wanted to move over there. Hold on. Where was Twin? Oh, yeah. The Travel Channel. Does this open up? Oh, here you go. You can visit them in real life. Of course, the falls. Book now from $400. Damn. That's pretty cool. 5 minutes from the falls? Yeah, dude. The Owl Cave. Man, I never finished watching this series. I always try to like rewatch it. You jumped off the bridge. I always tried to rewatch this series, but dude, it just gets like so intense like halfway through the second season. I just never finish it. I don't know, man. But yeah, I do want to go to the Double R, get some pie and a coffee. I think like Supernatural like took a lot from that from this show, as far as like being out of towners, like that whole thing, and then like it being like traveling across the country and all that stuff. That was another show that I really liked. But yeah, dude, mountains like out here in Texas, like it's flat. It's flat as fuck, dude. It's like fucking you won't see anything but sky around here. I don't even remember. Alright, so back to boring shit.
Was sworn in despite efforts by Guatemala's Attorney General, conservative lawmakers, and the elite ruling class who spent months trying to prevent his presidency. Arevalo was elected in August after running on an anti-corruption platform. In the United States, the judge in E. Jean Carroll's defamation trial threatened to expel former President Donald Trump from the courtroom Wednesday for repeatedly disrupting
who's drawing this shit?
The proceedings. Trump could be heard loudly telling his attorney that the trial was a witch hunt and a con job. Trump's disruptions came as the writer E. Jean Carroll took the stand and accused Trump of shattering her reputation. A trial last year found Trump had sexually abused E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s and then defamed her. At this new trial, a different jury is determining if Trump owes her more money for other acts of defamation. Trump's trial is occurring just ahead of New Hampshire's Republican primary Tuesday, the first primary in the nation. On Wednesday, ABC canceled its New Hampshire Republican debate after former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley refused to participate if Trump did not take part as well.
Yeah,
Trump
she was
has so
like,
far
nah,
declined to debate
if it's only
any
going to be
of
her and
his Republican
DeSantis again.
challengers. Haley's facing criticism this week after claiming the United States was never a racist country. She made the comment during an interview on Fox News.
Dog, come on, dude.
Are you a racist party? Are you involved in a racist party?
No. We're not a racist country, Brian. We've never been a racist country.
That's why she goes by her middle name, because it's not racist at all.
Haley's comment comes just weeks after she failed to mention slavery as one of the causes of the U.S. Civil War.
She's like, this place ain't racist, that's why I go by my middle name. Oh, dude.
In other campaign news, a judge in Maine has suspended a
And then he called her Nimrata. Like, Nimrata. Like, dude.
decision by the state
Game
Secretary
over.
of State to remove Donald Trump from the primary ballot for violating the insurrectionist clause of the 14th Amendment. The judge said the U.S. Supreme Court should weigh in on Trump's eligibility first. The High Court is hearing oral arguments February 8th. The conservative-led Supreme Court Wednesday heard arguments in a case that threatens to severely restrict the regulatory authority of federal agencies on issues ranging from environmental protection to guns to health care. The case centers around the Chevron deference, a precedent established in 1984 which requires courts to defer to an agency's interpretation of laws. Fishing companies are challenging the doctrine, long maligned by corporations and the right. The legal effort is backed by far-right interest groups, including the network of billionaire Charles Koch. Liberal Justice Elena Kagan defended the practice, saying, quote, and it's best to defer to people who do know, who have had long experience on the ground, who have seen 1,000 of these kinds of situations, Kagan said, adding, and you know, judges should know what they don't know, unquote.
You don't know what you don't know until you know it.
A ruling by the Supreme Court's expected in the summer. In a major antitrust ruling, a federal judge in Boston's blocked the merger of JetBlue and Spirit Airlines, saying the merger would hurt consumers. In his ruling, Judge William Young wrote, quote, the airline industry is an oligopoly.
Hold on. Yeah, not only is it an oligopoly, but did we know, I didn't know until this week, that Spirit is an offshoot of Boeing. Like, how do you both make the airplanes and then also have an airline that uses your airplanes? What kind of bullshit is this?
That has become more concentrated due to a series of mergers, unquote. Last year, the Department of Justice in 6 states sued to stop the merger. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has proposed a rule that could drastically lower overdraft charges at the nation's largest banks. If approved, many bank customers could see their overdraft fees drop from about $35 to as little as $3.
Okay, like, I get $3, but, like, why not just, like, eliminate them, period? Because what's the point of the overdraft fee anyway?
Agency estimates the new rule could save households up to $3.5 billion annually. Banking trade groups have decried the proposed rule changes.
Like, what happens when you overdraft, then you get charged $3 for money that you don't have to begin with, and then you get charged more money for not having money to be able to pay the fee? Like, it's fucking stupid. It's like an infinite amount of fines. It's dumb.
Study finds Greenland's ice cap is losing an average of 30 million.
It's expensive to be poor. That's what it is.
Tons of ice every hour due to the effects of the climate crisis. Researchers with NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory published their findings in the journal Nature, which show the ice loss is 20% greater than previously thought. Scientists fear the additional fresh water pouring into the North Atlantic could lead to a collapse of ocean
makes no
currents,
sense at all.
which would trigger devastating disruptions to global weather
That's what I'm
patterns,
saying, Sabrina,
ecosystems, and food security. And Azerbaijan, the host country of this year's UN Climate Summit in December, has come under fire after it unveiled its organizing committee for COP29, made up of 28 men and no women. The group, She Changes Climate, blasted the regressive decision, they said, saying, quote, climate change affects the whole world, not half of it, unquote. The organizing committee does, however, include oil and gas
Fucking tell them.
executives. Early this month, Azerbaijan's environmental minister, Mukhtar Babayev, was named as COP29's president. He previously spent 26 years at the state oil company of the Azerbaijan Republic, or SOCAR.
Hold on. This dude that's representing them, he spent how many years?
6 years at the state oil company of the Azerbaijan Republic, or SOCAR. And those are some
This shit's so corrupt. It's so corrupt. Like, you can't make it up.
of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report.
The Warren, that's always my favorite part, when the captions pick up the Warren Peace Report. Anyways, why do electric cars suck?
It's the most expensive brick on the block. When a Tesla can't charge in the cold weather, it is referred to by some owners as having become bricked, which is to say that it is as lifeless and useless as one. In Chicago, temperatures this week dropped as low as -9 degrees. Some owners were abandoning them at charging stations to be later towed away. This would...
Hold on, they left them at the charging station so they could be towed?
seem to be a major impediment to the EV future imagined by President Biden, who says he wants 50% of all new vehicle sales to be electric.
Dude, they blamed Biden right now. Are you serious? For the failures of the automotive industry. Come on, man. Okay, I'm not going to defend Biden. I probably won't usually. But this is a failure of the automotive industry. Yeah, they want to get away from, or they're being told to get away from gas guzzlers or gas cars and get into the electric industry. But still, like, this shows that, like, you're not ready. You ain't ready.
Electric by 2030. To help us understand whether this really is an existential problem for those goals, we're joined by Jenny Newman. She's editor-in-chief of Cars.com. So, why are the electrical vehicles having problems? Is it something having to do with the vehicles or the owners of the vehicles?
I think it could be a little bit of both. I think as an owner, if you're going to buy an EV, you need to realize, of course, that there's a bit of a learning curve with owning an EV. You need to be thinking about things like cold weather and its impact on your battery or your range. It's going to impact your range by as much as 40%. So that is significant, and you need to understand how to counteract that in the winter.
And is it that is it damaging the batteries, or is it just that they drain faster or don't? What's the key problem that people need to be knowing about?
Well, you know, when it's cold out, of course, even with your cell phone, think about that. You're going to see some battery drain in that weather. And, you know, if you have an EV with a range of 250 miles, you in the winter could probably expect to see about 150 miles. It's not damaging the battery per se. But this is a known issue. And, you know, again, planning is a really important component of EV ownership. And I would also argue,
I'm gonna tell you for real, like, I didn't know that if it dropped to like below 20 degrees that these things had issues like that.
That charging at home is, I think, as this situation in Chicago has shown, really key to ownership.
What about regular cars? If it's that cold, you know, well below zero, is everything going to go just fine with an old-fashioned gasoline car?
Well, you're not going to see the huge degradation in, you know, your range, but we do know that gas vehicles are about 5% less efficient in the cold weather. So there is a smaller issue there. And I think anyone who's experienced, you know, horrible winters in the Midwest or anywhere else across the country knows that you can be plagued by dead batteries in your gas-powered vehicle just as frequent, you know, just as much as anyone else. So it definitely isn't.
She tries to ration that that, oh, you have a battery in your gas-powered vehicle, so maybe your gas-powered vehicle won't start either. Yeah, but the whole car doesn't run off of the battery. Also, if you have a manual car, you can push start it. Like, you can push it, kick the clutch, and then it starts up like no problem.
An issue there.
And what about in Norway? Because in Norway, don't they own, it's cold and they have a lot of electric vehicles in Norway. So have they got it figured out, or do they do something special in Norway we should all be doing?
Well, I think Norway is maybe where we want to be in 10 years. So they've been working on this a lot longer.
All right, I'll be right back, actually. Give me 1 second. I need to restart this guy. BRB. clicks not count? Like, what the hell, dude? Alright, pause on the Squirtle sacks.
Longer, they have a lot more public charging, and I think they're an example that shows that you can have an EV and make it through the winter, you know, without serious issue. I think that should be the gold star that we're all pointed toward as we think about
we buy junk cars.
You know, moving toward more EVs across the country.
And is that what would mitigate this problem, which is that if there were a bunch more charging stations, you wouldn't have the long lines and cars running out of power or it taking so long, because you just take the time to charge, not take the time to wait in line to charge.
Just like we have gas stations every 2 miles.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right? It's kind of chicken and egg. So we definitely need more public charging. And as we see more and more EVs on the road, in fact, in 2023, EVs accounted for 8% of new car sales. So it's definitely increasing. You're seeing more people at public charging stations. The other side of it, of course, is that if you're charging at home, you don't need to rely on a public charging station. So that takes that out of the equation. Perhaps you only use public charging for road trips, for instance. One other thing to consider, of course, as an EV owner is really knowing your car. You're going to be able to charge much more efficiently if you do something that's called preconditioning your battery. So that is getting it up to the right temperature, or in extreme heat, cooling it down to the correct temperature for optimal charging at these DC fast charging stations. So that's a really important component. And I think for a lot of people, if they were already limping along on low battery reserves, they probably didn't have enough battery to support that preconditioning. So there's a lot that goes into it. Again, EV ownership, there's a little bit of a learning curve for shoppers to consider.
And many of them are moving along that curve as we speak. Jenny Newman, editor-in-chief of Cars.com. Thanks so much for being with us.
I mean, that seems like a lot of issues to consider just for driving a car. Well, yes, I do agree that there should be changes in the right direction as far as the automotive industry goes. As far as the pollutants that we're putting in the air and whatnot. During COVID, I think there was only a 10% decrease in CO2 that was put into the air compared to what you see companies like Exxon and Shell and all those big oil conglomerates putting into the air. That's the majority of the problem. As far as saving the planet, EVs are not the way. Not only because it's not that big of a chunk of the pollution that's put out, but recent improvements as to fuel efficiency and the way that the cars do burn gas has changed in the more recent years. On top of that, these EVs that use giant batteries, they have giant battery packs. Basically, the entire bottom of the car from wheel to wheel is a huge battery, right? Those materials have to come from somewhere, and that's basically mining like the Congo, mining somewhere in like South America, and getting all of those minerals and things that are required to create those batteries. So you're not using gas, the machines and whatnot to extract that material from the earth is a major issue. So that's kind of another major problem that you see with EVs. Now, if you were to ask me, you'd say, Johnny, what's the solution here? Then you're saying that EVs aren't the solution. You're saying that gas cars are the solution. Well, not really. I would say mass transit is more the solution of, where you have multiple people riding in one vehicle that is burning the same amount of CO2, or you have well-established lines of just transit between cities where people don't have to drive, or even that you improve trains or the train system where there doesn't have to be 18-wheelers going between cities and cities all the time. Stuff like that could improve our society, but we don't do that because the automotive industry has us by stranglehold, saying, hey, here's the new model, come out and buy it, you want to. So that would lead into a much larger conversation of hyper-individualism, and I don't think I'm ready for that right now. But anyway, this story sucks. Oh, okay, I guess we'll talk about Uvalde now.
Victims trapped.
What is going on with my audio? This is really low.
In classroom 111 and 112, were waiting to be rescued at 11:44 a.m., approximately 10 minutes after officers first arrived, when the subject fired another shot inside the classrooms. The victims were still waiting to be rescued when the subject fired 4 more shots inside the classrooms at 12:21 p.m., 49 minutes after officers arrived on the scene.
Jesus.
And they were still waiting for another 27 minutes after that until finally officers entered the classroom and killed the subject. Within minutes of arriving inside the school, officials on scene transitioned from treating the scene as an active shooter situation to treating the shooter as a barricaded subject.
They didn't want to go in there. That's what it was. They feared for their lives for once, and they would rather hear kids die than go in there and try to be the heroes that they should be themselves. Cowards.
This was the most significant failure.
Cowardly. Just pure cowardly behavior. That really pisses me off, especially for people who have signed up to protect those that they say that they are protecting. That's only a minute video long. I don't see another one as far as their coverage. Yeah, I would wonder if there's anybody else that posted. Oh no. Alright, let's just watch these assholes for a minute. See how sensational this is.
Harris, thank you, Harris.
Jesus
CNN, the
Christ.
DOJ releasing its long-awaited report into the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. And Casey Stiegel has more on that now from Texas in Uvalde. Casey?
Yeah, Bill, good morning. The report was just released this morning. It's about 600 pages or so, and our team is currently trying to go over every last bit of it so we can break it all down
pages.
for you. The critical incident report was announced by the Department of Justice just 5 days after the shooting here in Uvalde in May of 2022 at the request of Uvalde's mayor. The headline or the key takeaway right now from the report is it says the most significant failure that morning was that the first 11 responding officers who got here to the scene within 3 minutes of the shooter entering the building should have immediately recognized the incident as an active shooter, which training suggests in those cases police are supposed to eliminate the threat immediately, advance toward the threat, try to save victims, and protect lives. Instead, the DOJ report says that a 77-minute time frame elapsed.
We need to know who these guys are.
Right now from the report is it says the most significant failure that morning was that the first 11 responding
officers 11 responders
who got here to the scene within 3 minutes of the shooter entering the building should have immediately recognized the incident as an active shooter, which training suggests in those cases police are supposed to eliminate the threat immediately, advance toward the threat, try to save victims, and protect lives. Instead, the DOJ report says that a 77-minute time frame elapsed before law enforcement finally breached the fourth grade classrooms, shooting and killing the suspect. Instead, the feds say the de facto on-scene incident commander, Pete Arredondo, who at the time was the chief of Uvalde School Police Department, deemed the situation as a barricaded subject, despite the fact that more gunshots were fired as more and more police arrived to search for keys and tools to breach the classrooms where the suspect was, instead of again moving.
Just the most useless thumb this side of my hand, dude. Like, what are you doing? Look at you. Look at where you are.
Toward the danger and trying to neutralize the suspect. 21 people were killed in that attack.
Eva, Irma, Xavier, Isaiah, Elena, Annabelle, Another Elena. I can't, man. I can't. It's awful, man.
19 students and 2 teachers. The U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland is here in Uvalde. He met with victims' family members last night. He's scheduled to hold a news conference very shortly. Bill, we'll keep you posted.
And maybe we'll learn more from that. Thank you, Casey Stiegel. Tough story there in Uvalde, Texas.
Again, I'll say it again. They don't care about us. They really don't. Okay, that was 14 hours ago. This is also 14 hours ago. There's more on the report. I'd say let's see what the victims have to say.
Wonderful families who would like to speak and express themselves. And I'll introduce Kimberly Rubio.
Two families will speak, and then we'll do questions at the end.
Reading this report this morning, I read that Pete directed officers intending to gain entry into the classroom to stop. That no leader effectively questioned the decision and lack of urgency of UCISD PD Chief Arredondo and UPD Acting Chief Mariano Vargas toward entering classrooms 111 and 112. And that leadership can arise regardless of rank and title. I hope that the failures end today and that local officials do what wasn't done that day. Do right by the victims and survivors of Robb Elementary. Terminations, criminal prosecutions.
Seriously.
And our state and federal government enact sensible gun laws, because Robb Elementary began the day an 18-year-old was allowed to purchase an AR-15.
You can tell them.
Most importantly, from what we've seen with this report, and I commend the DOJ on doing this, is that although there isn't every name of the officers that were there so that we can hold them accountable, because we have to do our own digging most of the time, there are names that are named. And it is time, because our community is so divided because of this, because they don't want to believe that the people that they grew up with failed our children and they stand against us. I'm hoping that they read this and they see Johnny Phil's name, or Mariano Pargas's, who is a county commissioner right now, or Constable Zamora, who is running for re-election. There are names in there, and the community needs to see this, and y'all need, because the DOJ stamp is on there, maybe y'all will start taking us seriously now, instead of telling us to move on, telling us to sweep it under the rug, and not doing a damn thing about it. We need our community. It's hard enough waking up every day and continuing to walk out on these streets and walk to an HEB or drive to an HEB and see a cop that was standing there while our babies were murdered and bleeding out. It's hard enough that. But this community doesn't care, and I hope this makes y'all. I also hope that this lights a fire up under the district attorney's ass, because we know that she has not done a damn thing, and we refuse to accept that.
Bullshit.
Do your job.
Absolute bullshit. Bring that man back.
Let's try to go one at a time and just introduce yourself so we know who they're talking to. Where do we want to start? Shimon, go ahead.
So just
let them know who you are.
Shimon Bogovez, CNN. Just, do you guys feel that the report went far enough in naming people and holding people accountability? Because as we know, DPS had the largest number of law enforcement officials outside of the CBP. There's a lot of video and a lot of information about their actions that they, but it doesn't seem that this report really touches on their actions. It seems to focus mostly on.
I can't hear you.
Concerned about that. Some reaction to that.
I don't understand why they are allowed privacy. My child, their children, they are named in this report because they are dead. Everybody should have been named.
Do you feel, Kim, if I could follow up, that somehow maybe DPS is off the hook?
It's awful.
When you look at this report, do any of you want to just...
I mean, it's kind of hard to answer the question because we've only been given an hour and a half to kind of just look through the report. So we don't even know if they are mentioned in there or not. We would hope that they are because they were there, so we hope that they would be accountable for their actions as well.
Donnie, following up on that, Monica Madden, Phoenix Fan and Nexstar. I know that you said you're still sifting through the report and everything, but were you hoping that the Attorney General would have been a lot of more of the aftermath, the delays in the DA's investigation, DPS's investigation into its office's actions and accountability? Were you hoping that he would address more of that publicly?
I mean, of course we would have. We're grateful that we got what we have right now because it's probably the most updated information that any of us have gotten since May 24th. So we're very appreciative of what he's done right now.
Okay, so one thing about this is, like, each one of these people that are up here are parents of a child that have died. That died because of the inaction of the Uvalde Police Department, their county, and everybody else that's associated that went in there. Not only that, the DA, from top to bottom, the constables and everybody else that's in the area. They said over 600 cops responded to this event, and they just literally listened and watched as children died. Reprehensible.
But yeah, we would have liked to have more information about it.
Okay. The other, which is Jim Ryan with ABC Radio. Did you learn anything new from what you've seen in this report? Is there anything that you didn't know before?
We knew as families, just kind of talking amongst each other, we knew the failures that had happened. We just kind of, it makes more clarity now because it's written and now it's set in stone, and
it's
what
hard.
we thought is true. So I did learn something. You did? I didn't realize that the scene was compromised.
What?
The scene was compromised, that there was people that shouldn't have been there that were entering the classroom. That's mentioned in the report.
What the fuck?
And how did that make you feel to learn that?
I want to continue reading more when we're done here.
So a couple more and then let you go read. Two quick ones. Need for WA.
What do you mean the scene was compromised? Like, who was there that shouldn't have been there? That's absolutely crazy to me. That's about how it feels. That's about...
KBB in San Antonio. In all of your guys' mind, is there any question left that the DA should have all that she needs, all that she is required to have for her investigation to be able to pursue criminal charges now at this point?
Yeah. I think they should be criminally charged, definitely. Those that did inaction should learn that their job is to protect and serve as advertised. Rather than protect and serve property, they should be protecting and serving the people and their children.
Yeah, what else does she need? Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most extensive piece that we have.
If you put up a fund to ask people to guarantee that you are going to be able to sue these cops for doing complete inaction and causing the death of your children, I guarantee you the majority of people in America would fund that.
About all of the failures that happened that day, what else does she possibly need to prosecute or to remove these people from their positions of power when they can't even do their jobs?
Yami Virgin, KBB WOAI. How safe are the children of Uvalde right now?
I think the point of this is that none of us are safe. That's what Josh just mentioned. None of us are safe because these weapons are on the streets.
Exactly. We live in a fucking war zone. If you live in Texas, if you live in a Republican state, if you live in a state where gun laws are basically the Wild West, you are in danger. You live in a war zone. it makes me so angry to see these parents go through this, go through the loss of a child, go through something that they'll never be able to live beyond, because you can't, like, you can't comprehend how that is until you've actually outlived your own children, and I don't think a lot of people have. Especially when you have assholes like this talk back to me, I'll get you fired. Like, this type of nonsense that these guys just go through and think that they can implement their behavior on anybody and everybody the way that they see fit. There has to be consequences. There has to be consequences to inaction. I think that's just a sample of what our response to cops should be, because a lot of people trust the police. They trust the police to help them. They trust the police to serve them. And that's not the way it is. I don't know. Here's DW News, which is a German. It's a German news outlet that's definitely right-leaning. Pakistan claims that it has no choice but to airstrike Iran. That's definitely the stance I would expect them to take, for sure. For sure, DW News, I would expect no less. They seem to put out a lot of propaganda for the right, or that leans right. It's kind of crazy. What? Docu-Dubry, what are you doing? This son of a bitch. Speaking of right-wingers, how about Willy Wonka?
Today, Willy Wonka is celebrated as a rags to riches
So loud. Sorry.
industrialist whose ability to transport items in and out of TVs allowed Britain to bypass the German U-boats in the Second World War and save the British from starvation. But just like the chocolate he so brilliantly crafts and the moon, William E. Wonka has a dark side.
He said William E. Wonka. Oh.
Growing up in the early 20th century as the son of the only dentist in all of England undoubtedly was hard on a young Willy Wonka. Being a dentist in Britain certainly meant Wonka's family was impoverished, and his straight white male teeth probably earned him much ridicule and mockery as a young boy. Perhaps this is what drove Wonka into the candy industry altogether, to finally do something respectable with the family name. In 1920, after receiving a small loan of $63,171 US and 19
Dad gave me a small loan of $63,000
cents from his father, Wonka opened up his first chocolate shop in Birmingham. As Wonka forged the beginnings of his candy empire, he realized he would only be able to compete in the market if he could severely reduce his costs. And in the candy industry, the majority of his costs would be from labor. With the British government...
I love Docu-Dubry's awareness of capitalism and the free market, quote unquote. What the fuck is that? What is happening here? Oh my god.
outlawing slavery and severely restricting child labor in the 19th century, Wonka's hands were tied when it came to reducing labor costs to the amount he needed to be competitive in the chocolate industry. That was until Wonka discovered Loompa Land off the coast of South America in 1922, and thus began one of the darkest events in Wonka's tumultuous history. When Wonka first arrived at the island, he began convincing the local Oompa Loompa population that cocoa beans were a valuable currency that could also be consumed. Due to the different metabolism and anatomy of the Oompa Loompas, the cocoa beans behaved very similar to opium in their systems, and it wasn't long before the whole island became addicted and completely debilitated. Although Wonka made a small fortune trading cocoa beans to the Oompa Loompas, it was their labor force that he truly wanted, and it wasn't long before he began.
Always know. When people say always know your worth, they don't mean like your cash value of the items that you own. They mean know your worth as in the labor that you are providing. Because it can be argued, and I would argue, that your labor value is infinite. If one person can create a landscaping business and then go out and modify the lands that you see, that labor is infinite. It is the same that a person that is creating something that will change the way that people the way that the Oompa Loompa society behaves or is interpreted.
Bringing them to Britain in an illegal.
That's also a major change. Their wealth should have been infinite. Rather, they were robbed by Willy Wonka.
Indentured servitude trading network many historians condemn as the Coco-Loopian Exchange.
Oh my God, Oompa Loompa.
With Wonka employing a highly skilled labor force that he essentially paid in cheap drugs, he began to dominate the candy industry as he created high-quality candy products at unbeatable prices. As Wonka's empire started to grow, he began constructing more and more warehouses to store his precious candies and treats. And this is where the specter of communism began to haunt Wonka. As the young Soviet Union began trying to attract skilled laborers into their ranks, Comrade Squidward had taken the liberty of rewriting warehouse logistics manuals to have socialist leanings.
The Warehouse Logistics Manifesto. No!
This program had been successful at converting many prominent laborers to socialism in Britain, including one Bob the Builder. When the Oompa Loompas read these warehouse logistics manuals, they became indoctrinated to socialism and formed the Oompa Loompa Workers' Union. It wasn't long before a full-blown attempt to seize the means of production happened, when the Oompa Loompas rose up against Wonka and forced him to the negotiating table. As part of their negotiations, the Oompas demanded better working conditions, shares of the profits, ownership of the company, and to receive equal salaries to that of Wonka. To their shock, Wonka agreed to all of their terms without any counter-offers. He only asked to remain in control of the cocoa bean supply and distribution, to which the Loompians agreed. At first, the Loompas enjoyed their newfound wealth and prosperity, dropping the cocoa beans as payment in exchange for the pound sterling. But one by one, many began dropping dead of relapses due to the sudden stopped consumption of the cocoa bean. Slowly, the Oompa Loompas became extremely weak due to their strong addiction to cocoa beans, until finally they had no choice but to reopen negotiations with Willy Wonka, who had cut off their supply almost completely. This time Wonka played hardball and only agreed to give them the cocoa beans if they dissolved their union and rescinded their socialist beliefs and policies. Having lost 40% of their brethren, the Oompa Loompas now had no choice but to oblige. Never again would the Loompas attempt to unionize. A shout out to my patrons for selecting this video.
I used to be on there. Oh no. Ducky Dubry, what are you... History Channel at 3 a.m.? Stop. Please stop.
What was Dr. Doofenshmirtz doing from 1930 to 1945?
That's a good
Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz was born in the Germanic nation of Drusselstein during the build-up to World War II. In 1938, the Drusselstein territory was annexed by Nazi Germany along with Austria and the Sudetenland. Doofenshmirtz's father was conscripted into the 9th SS Panzer Division and was killed in action by a British pilot shortly following the D-Day invasion. Although it is unknown if Doofenshmirtz himself was in the Hitler Youth, Doofenshmirtz narrowly escaped youth conscription by Major Felix Steiner in the Battle of Berlin. Following the war, Doofenshmirtz immigrated to the tri-state area where he lived for some time. When his Nazi ties were later uncovered, his wife divorced him and he was relentlessly hunted by Mossad agent Perry the Platypus.
Oh my god. Mossad agent Perry the Platypus. Oh no. Oh no. I can't, dude. No, that's enough. Oh, I'm sorry. That's too much documentary. Too much documentary will definitely mess up your mind, for sure. Oh, dude, this is my jam, though. Edit this all out for the YouTube video. It was fun. Had a good time. Okay, so like earlier I saw this video, but I didn't really click on it. Let me try and...
All right, click away, brother. This
click away, brother.
Gay, okay. At first, I thought to myself, "There's no bisexual lighting." So after he said to me that he's from Texas, I thought maybe he's a patriot. And then I saw that
he can't be from Texas. I'm from Texas.
He said he's not a part of the American Global Project, and I realized then, excuse me, there's nothing more American than advocating for endless empire, ceaseless empire, 800 military bases around the world, so that Raytheon can turn profit year after year. Profits that it won't even trickle down to his own goddamn engineers, brother.
That's absolutely true, because Raytheon makes millions upon millions, and their engineers just get paid, you know, an engineer wage, which is good. I would say that wage is good, but is it what the company is getting, and is it what they should be paid? Hell no. Hell no. But you'll never hear a engineer that works for a defense contractor say that they aren't getting paid well, because they believe that they're getting paid well while their companies bring in all of the money. All of the money, all of their CEOs, everybody above you. If you're in engineering, you're seeing this right now. You ain't getting paid shit compared to what your boss is. Your boss is fucking you over the table, backwards.
That's what America is about. America is about $5 jalapeno poppers and
that's what it breaks down to. As long as you can go and take your wife out to go get these $5 jalapeno poppers, that is all that matters. Your kids are going to be screaming, running circles around the bar, going around and tearing shit up. And your wife's going to be yelling at you, and you're going to be yelling at your wife. And that's the way life is. But, you could be probably getting double, triple your salary, and you're not.
my dick not working because my food is actual garbage. Because again, big mega corporations that are fancying themselves, they're working on the agricultural production side and also on food, have lobbied the government endlessly to ensure that they cut costs as best as possible and feed me poison. But that's goddamn delicious
all poison,
and I'll kill you if you ever try to take that away from me. America is about me having severe health complications like diabetes and then not being able to pay for my insulin because goddamn it, brother, we got other priorities that never...
Well, I would say if you work for a government contractor, odds are your insurance is pretty good and you will be able to afford all that bullshit. But guarantee one of your relatives ain't. And you're just going to sit there and watch your relatives die instead.
Seem to help me out. I don't know what the priorities are, really. I don't know who's really getting helped out. Maybe the corporate bottom line. But there is an America out there, spiritually, that's dominating, and it makes me feel good. It's all good that I got incredibly high blood pressure and...
Yep.
Don't work, and I can't go to a goddamn doctor because the last remaining rural hospital is a helicopter ride away. Turns out it wasn't profitable for there to be a hospital there, and guess what? That's goddamn all right because I'm American. I'm proud to be a goddamn... That's...
A hospital a town over, it ain't there anymore. But you know what? I'm gonna die in the ambulance on the way to the next one.
Burn the Patriot's all about because I can have a gun and I can purchase that gun at Walmart and I can have my 10-year-old play with that gun at home because I don't need
10-year-old dude. Toddlers are like one of the biggest killers in the United States. What are you talking about?
Need a lock and key. And when that 10-year-old learns the hard way guns are really like, maybe he shoots his sister in the face, but guess what? Didn't like her that much anyway. Her vibes were... And sure, I shot my dick off too one time, but that's all right. I don't need it anyway. The poison I've consumed has already destroyed my penis before I shot myself in the penis to begin with. So, didn't make much use of it regardless, but god damn it, that's what being an American is about. All right, let's get back to this gay commie now.
Slavery has...
All right, click away, brother. This commie is gay.
This gay commie, dude. Oh man, that's all went off the deep end, bro.
No bisexual lighting.
He went way off the deep end on that one. Yeah, Hank Packer. I'd vote for that guy still. Definitely. Oh, that was awful. Actually, I want to say. Yeah, let's not ever do that again. And I'll end the stream there. So, you know what? Chunk deuces.